Testing. Hi,
Greetings. Which department are you from?
I'm from psychology.
Psychology,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I'm from chemistry.
nice. What year are you?
Um, four.
Okay, cool. I'm a
You
third year.
third year, nice, nice. The year I'm like near that crest.
Yeah, I do my qualification exams right at the end of the semester, and so I feel like that's when things really start to feel real, and you
Absolutely,
can see the finish
absolutely.
line.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Are you excited, stressed, a little bit
Uh,
of
you mean
everything
like just in general about?
for your qual?
Oh, well. So the way that or the option that I've chosen is to do a major area paper. So
Okay,
ideally, it should be fairly straightforward, and then I do like a
okay,
oral examination where I just talk about the paper and the area of literature that I decided to synthesize. And so
okay.
in my mind, I'm like, okay, like this should be fairly straightforward. But
Sure,
for some
sure.
reason, I feel like a lot of people in my department make it to seem like this really big thing. And so I feel like I have some associated anxiety because they were all
Yeah.
stressed about it. So I feel like I should be stressed about this. So yes and
Yeah,
no.
for sure, for
It
sure.
just kind of, I guess it'll, once it gets closer to time, I'm sure I'll get more nervous, but I feel
Yeah.
okay right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I am not very familiar with quals looking different really and having options. So I'm definitely jealous in that regard.
What did it look like for you?
You kind of propose your thesis topic, go through the kind of research that you've already done, and you write either a 10 or 12 page paper
Okay,
about it. So
cool.
it
Yeah, a
it
little bit different.
it was a lot. It was a
Yeah, I
lot.
bet.
Not gonna lie. Welcome aboard, Walt.
Hey, thanks. Welcome aboard to you. It looks like the engine is already started and we've already got a lively discussion going. So that's a good sign. We'll give people just about another minute or so to join and give everyone who's here a chance to run and get a cold beverage or just whatever. I'll start by saying hello to everyone and thank you for joining us today for this panel discussion about the student experience at Vanderbilt University. I'm Walt Bishke, the Associate Director of Graduate Admissions at Vanderbilt University. And first, let me congratulate you all on your admission to Vanderbilt from a very competitive pool. And we hope that today's session will give you uh, insight into the student experience at Vanderbilt and give you additional information about us. And we hope that you will find that information helpful to make your choice, Vanderbilt, your choice for graduate school. We have invited a panel of current students to help answer questions about the graduate student experience here. So please feel free to enter your questions in the chat area, or you can raise your hand and we'll get to as many questions as we can. But this is going to be a real informal, casual discussion. I'm going to just try to uh, navigate us through a few topics, but we really want this session to be about you and about the questions that you've brought to the session, and we want you to have the opportunity to engage directly with our current students. So, since we have a small room here, I wanted to start with introductions and a brief icebreaker question. So when I call on you, please say your name what is your program of study, and answer the question, what is your favorite way to relax? So I will start. I am Walt Bishke, Graduate School Admissions, and my favorite way to relax is watching old vintage television episodes of Columbo. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of that, but that's one way that I enjoy kicking back. Let's go to William.
So, hi everybody. I'm William. I'm a fourth year grad student in the Department of Chemistry. And my favorite way to kind of relax and decompress from a day is playing board games with my group of friends.
Great. Oh, and I just want to remind everyone that this session's being recorded for the benefit of those who are unable to join us tonight, or just for your future reference, if you ever wanted to check back at some details, conversations. We're going to cover various topics tonight that will be of interest to you. But let's carry on with Ebony.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ebony. I am a third-year graduate student in the Psychology and Human Development department. And something that I like to do to relax is I'm really into indoor rock climbing. So I have a lot of fun doing that. And so that's what I would say is my favorite thing to do to relax.
All right. Amy.
Hi, everyone. My name's Amy Liang, and I'm also in the Psychology and Human Development program department, specifically in the Quantitative Methods program. My favorite way to relax is just taking a walk on campus, or just taking a jog.
Jenny.
Hi everyone, I'm Jenny. I'm newly admitted to the IGP program at Vanderbilt. And my favorite way to relax is petting my cat.
Alice.
Hi, I'm Alice. I also am newly admitted for a philosophy program, and I like to play video games in my spare time.
Sienna.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sienna. I was admitted to pursue my PhD in epidemiology at Vanderbilt, and I'm a former college swimmer, so any time in the pool or exercise is definitely my passion.
All right, I'm going to try my best with this next name, Miyazatis.
Hi, my name is Mia Sotis. I'm a postdoc student here in Memorial Sloan Kettering. I'm a newly admitted IGP student for Vanderbilt. And my way to relax, like my best way to relax is like walking my dog and rewatching the Harry Potter marathon.
All right. And Megan.
My name is Megan. I'm a newly admitted student, or newly admitted at Vanderbilt. I'd say my favorite thing to do to relax would be to paint, probably.
All right. I think we've covered everybody who's here. So let's move into our discussion time. And again, this is just a bunch of us sitting around a virtual coffee table at some virtual coffee shop somewhere. And we're just talking, we're just shooting the breeze. So we want this to be casual. And if you have a question, feel free to speak it, or put it in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. But I'll kick it off with just a simple question to our continuing students. What made you choose Vanderbilt? And we can start with William.
So, what kind of made me choose Vanderbilt? I'll like to say it was a kind of simple answer for me. It was money. So Vanderbilt gave me a better offer than other grad students, and to kind of expand upon that and why I think it's really pivotal right now is the graduate school is doing really good in efforts to provide us more funding opportunities, whether that be with travel grants, professional development funding, dissertation enhancement grants. All of those kind of play into funding and just kind of the overarching theme of how much Vanderbilt invests in you, right? And that was something that I found very, very attractive compared to the other grad schools that I was considering.
I'll go next.
Yeah, Ebony, sure.
Yeah. And simply put, the reason that I chose to go to Vanderbilt is with the psychology program, you applied to work with someone directly. And the advisor that I chose to work with is doing research that's directly related to my interests. And I made a really good connection with him during the interviewing process. And so I chose Vanderbilt because I just felt like his goals were very aligned with what I wanted to get out of this research program. And I'm also born and raised in Tennessee. I moved away after I graduated, but I have family here, and so it was good to come back home and be close to them. So those kind of things together is important for me to be near family. And then I'm really interested in the work that my advisor's doing.
Who is next?
Yeah, I'll be next. Yeah. I chose Vanderbilt because of several reasons, I think. First, also that I can build a one-on-one relationship with my advisor. The academic rigor here is amazing. I can engage in a lot of opportunities with cutting-edge research, particularly research topics that you are interested in. Secondly, there is a very inclusive community here that I can build with others. It's a very collaborative environment here, and you also get the vibe of a welcoming atmosphere in Nashville. That's the very second reason. Third reason is that the campus in Nashville, in Vanderbilt, is stunning as well. We have this amazing atmosphere and ambience that you can just take a walk and relax and just enjoy the nice weather out there, which are some of the reasons, top reasons that I chose Vanderbilt. I am an international student, so coming from a different country, I do have a lot of concerns before coming here, but then I feel like I am well supported with a lot of the programs and my advisor. So I really like Vanderbilt because of the academic rigor, the community here, as well as the environment.
The biggest challenges that you faced as a first year student, can you recall what some of those were and share how you overcame them?
Yeah, very much so. So, being a fourth year grad student, my first year was 2020 when COVID was still very high pandemic level. So I was the first cohort of grad students to enter grad school during COVID. And so it was a lot of navigating a lot of new experiences, both on my end and for the administrations. And as well. And I would say probably the hardest thing through all of that was figuring out how to teach a class in COVID because let's say if you were a lifetime educator, you were figuring out how to teach a class. And a youngster like me who did not have a lot of experience teaching, that was a very interesting situation to navigate and such. But one thing is I taught a lot of prospective students last weekend. So my department in chemistry just had our recruitment weekend for the incoming grad students in the fall. Vanderbilt does a really good job of preparing you as best as possible to teach in a classroom or a lab like most of my colleagues do. We intend to have folks over from Peabody, which is the teaching college at Vanderbilt, come and give you a lot of kind of workshops and such to really kind of build you up to be the best educator you can be for your students.
As for my first year, I feel like the biggest obstacle that I encountered was just trying to figure out how to navigate graduate school. I'm a first generation student, and so just kind of figuring out the ropes and how to go about things to excel in graduate school was probably the biggest obstacle for me. I did a post-bac before I came, and so you kind of get an idea there what expectations are for you. But the biggest thing is time management. The first lesson that I learned in grad school is that no one's going to just wait for you to do it. You have to take a lot of initiative to make sure that you're on top of everything that you need to be on top of. And my first year, there's a required class that you take that's first year studies. And I found that to be super helpful. The instructors of that course are the director of graduate studies for your departments, and they have a lot of good advice and topics that are covered in that course that really help you to get an idea of like what your first year is going to look like. So I found that super helpful. There was one other thing that I wanted to say about my first year. So I hadn't taken stats for a while, and my first year, there's a stats sequence that you have to take as a psychology student. And so I thought initially when I was starting the class, like, oh, I haven't taken stats since very early on in my undergraduate career. So I thought that was something that would be extremely difficult. But the stats department at Vanderbilt is really great, and I had a wonderful instructor who was so great at just taking the time to sit with you, and if you needed extra support in any way, he was definitely there. And I'm sure that Amy can speak on this too, since she has a lot of experience in the stats department. But it was a very good experience. Being able to make that connection with my stats teacher and get that one-on-one help if I needed it. But I had some nerves going into that stats class thinking that it was going to be something that would be super challenging or that I would have a hard time with. But I will say that the instruction was amazing, and I was able to excel in that class because of that.
Ebony, that's amazing. Yeah. I remember when I was a first year student, I was afraid to raise any questions in class. I come from a background that is maybe more conservative or very reservative, where students don't ask questions in class. We don't challenge any professors. So really asking questions in class and seminars, and talking comfortably with my advisor, and also giving the first departmental talk where there are so many well-known professors down there sitting in the audience, listening to your talk and raising questions. That was a little intimidating for me in my first year. But then in this environment, though, we have such a supportive community and colleagues and students who are like you, coming from different backgrounds, diverse backgrounds, where we come from everywhere. We share insights, and they're so welcoming in terms of our professors giving extra office hours and just being very approachable to us as students. This kind of supportive environment was really helpful for me to grow as someone who come from a very kind of like conservative background, or someone who is more kind of reserved as a student. I also found Vanderbilt's program, one called the Graduate and Postdoc Academic Success, which we call it the GPAS program, very supportive. We have a lot of amazing coaches, academic coaches, who are really good at the Gallup strengths tests, who will help you identify your strengths. Which is amazing. That has opened me to some kind of new avenues to know myself better, but also using my strengths to navigate different, academic resources on campus. So that has been really helpful for me to grow as a first year student to now kind of like a more confident, academic scholar in this, school environment.
Good insights. Now, we know that student life looks different as you progress through your academic career. So let's talk about, what does a day in the life look like for you now at the stage that you're in?
Oh, always like that question because the day in the life very much depends upon really which department you're in and what you're kind of up to then, right? So as a fourth year, I'm much less in the lab as I used to be right now. I'm kind of in grant writing stage and kind of planning out my next moves in my career. So right now I'm doing a lot of writing, a lot of presentation making, and a lot of just like library side research. On a more research heavy day, I would be in lab actually conducting experiments and such, potentially going to a meeting, reporting results, talking over experiments with some colleagues and such. There's a lot of variability in your days. I feel like regardless of which department you are in, but a lot of those components you're going to see kind of all over campus is just really how they're going to fit in at the stage of your journey at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I agree that it kind of depends on the year and also what that week looks like. But I will say that my typical schedule is very research heavy and like data analysis heavy. I feel like I spend a majority of my days working on things like that. So whether that's data collection or I'm analyzing or doing some kind of statistical analysis on the data that I have collected, that's usually what I'm spending the majority of my time on. I'm a third year, and so I'm in the process of collecting all my data for my dissertation. And so that's another reason why I'm doing a lot of data collection and analyses at this point. I usually have a meeting with my advisor once a week. So some days I'll have some intense or some lab meeting intense days where I'm in a meeting with my advisor one-on-one, or we have our total lab meeting where everyone in my lab will meet and we'll have like reading groups where we'll discuss papers. I also have some meetings where I'll sit and meet with collaborators on projects that I'm working on. And so those are the main components of my days. I am technically done with classes at this point, but I am auditing a class just because, like I said, Vanderbilt has a great stats program. And so I'm in a really great stats class right now. And so on one day of the week, I sit in on that class. But that's the majority of like what my schedule looks like. I do spend a lot of time in lab or just like in office just because I work better on campus. I'm not great at working from home. And so I do like to come into the office. I usually will spend my entire day there, but that's kind of like what my typical day looks like.
Yeah, so as a second year student, I took a lot of classes. Currently, I'm taking 3 classes in my semester. My research is mostly on simulating data. So I know that Ebony is doing a lot of data analysis. For my research, we're mostly simulating data. So I kind of work a lot with computers in my daily life. So I also have been TAing, meaning I am also doing some teaching assistant work. So I answered quite a lot of emails and also meeting my class in person a lot of times. I also spend time going to seminars and brown bags, ones that are within our department. Particularly, I'm mostly interested in a lot of the methods workshop. So I also attended a lot of the in-person seminars on a weekly basis. I also meet with my advisor weekly on the Mondays. So on my typical Monday, I would be meeting with my advisor in the morning and then continue on working on a couple of simulation studies. Then I would finish my day in my office hours. And that's my typical Monday schedule, how it looks like. And for the rest of the week, I would be attending classes and then seminars and mostly replying to emails.
Well, student life is a very busy life, but we're also there's life beyond the school walls at Vanderbilt. We're situated in a vibrant city, Nashville. Let's talk about what do you love about Nashville?
So many things, so many things. One of my favorite parts about Nashville is a board game cafe over in East Nashville called game point, which, as I kind of hinted at before, I love board games and such, and that's a great place to connect with folks. Outside of that, there's wonderful parks around here: Centennial Park, Percy Warner, Radnor. All of those are phenomenal to go take a walk around. In addition to parks, there's also Cheekwood, which is a botanical garden that has a wonderful art museum in their like own site mansion. Our zoo, I'm a member of the zoo. I love going to see all the animals there and such. Outside of that, I will occasionally go to a hockey game as well. Hockey is actually a really big thing down here in Nashville, which for me is surprising. I grew up about 3 hours south of here and had never seen a hockey game before in my life before I came here. So that was kind of a fun experience to get to enjoy during my time here. But there's a lot to do in Nashville. I've barely scraped the surface, and I've been here for 4 years already. So there's something for everybody, which I'm sure Ebony is dying to tell us about her experience.
Yeah, there's just so much to do here in Nashville, and that's probably one of my favorite things about it, about the city, is just that you can find something new to do every single day, even. I'm really big into like eating and like trying new places, and so there's a ton of great restaurants here in Nashville and a bunch of different types of food too. And so that's probably one of my favorite things. As I mentioned before, something that I really enjoy doing is climbing, and so there's like 4 different climbing gyms in the Nashville area, and there's also really great places to go outdoor rock climbing. And so I really enjoy doing that. There's also great parks. And so running, you can do a lot of running and hiking in the area, which is a lot of fun. Also, live music is probably my second favorite thing to do in Nashville. It's a really big venue for a lot of different artists to come. And so I see a lot of like live shows. Recently, I went to like the Nashville Symphony. There's a great performing arts centers. There's just so much of a variety of things to do here, and that's probably my favorite thing. It's it's big enough where you can find something new to do each and every day. There's even we have I think a faculty member who will send out a weekly recap of all the events that you can go to, and it's always just a long list of so many things that you can try for the first time, like different classes, cooking classes and dancing classes. I wasn't into rock climbing before, or even really hiking before. I started the program, but I've gained so many hobbies just living in Nashville.
Wow, that was awesome. I feel like William and Ebony already touched on so many different fun things to do in Nashville. I would just add that running was amazing. Running outdoors in the sunshine in Nashville was amazing. You will see a lot of runners during weekends as well as weekdays. The food was great. There were lots of, amazing brunch places to go and hang out with friends. You could also enjoy some nice walks in the Centennial Park. And one thing amazing is that the Vanderbilt Recreational Center also provided a lot of opportunities for going outdoors. So like open water, kayaking, and there are hiking trails that we can enjoy. So the school actually provided us a lot of opportunity to explore places around the school in Nashville. And places that are very close to the school. So those are really good opportunities to navigate.
And speaking of navigation, would you say a few words about how you navigate the city? Do any of you have your own cars, or do you find it easy enough to get around with rideshare and the public transit system? As a Vanderbilt student, you can ride the buses for free with a swipe of your ID card. But what are your thoughts on how to get around the city?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have my own car, as I had briefly mentioned. I'm fairly local, only one state away from where I grew up, and I commuted all 4 years to undergrad. So it was kind of just natural for me to shift into commuting to campus in grad school as well. I don't live far away from campus, only about a 5-minute drive south of campus. So I drive into campus in the mornings, and largely I'll walk anywhere I want to go during the day. So if it's, let's say, go hang out at a friend's house after work, go grab lunch somewhere, I'll walk there. And as Walt had briefly mentioned, bus rides are free. So if I ever want to go downtown, what I'll do, I'll drive to campus and then take the bus downtown because I don't like paying for parking downtown. And it's a good system because Vandy's a nice kind of hot spot to meet up and then go downtown to avoid all the traffic and let somebody else worry about getting me downtown. So I have most of my friends live within a walking distance and such. So I like to say it's largely dependent upon what kind of lifestyle you're looking for. If you're like me and you kind of like the one-on-one time driving to and from work or campus, or if you want to walk to campus, it's all possible with the kind of options that you have to live around town.
I mean, those are pretty much all the points that I would have made myself. I do have a personal car as well. My first year, I lived a little bit further out from campus, just because if you live further outside the city, rent is a little bit cheaper. And so my first year, a car was definitely necessary. I was like 25 minutes outside of the city. So in that aspect, I did need a car, but I ended up moving closer my second year. And so I only am about a 5-minute drive. I agree that depending on where you live, the city's pretty walkable. And I have many friends who also use public transportation as their primary source of transportation, and they have no issues.
I live in walking distance to the campus, so I mostly walk or take the bus. I kind of mostly commute every day, using buses when, the winter is getting in, or, when you feel like tired or lazy, when you don't want to walk. I feel very safe to walk around campus. And in terms of the bus routes, there are a lot to choose. And there's an app that you can kind of monitor on your phone. So it's very convenient for taking buses or taking walks.
Well, let's talk about the living experience here. Would you walk us through your how you found a roommate, how you found your current place that you're living in, and what was that process like?
Well, would somebody else like to go first? I don't steal a lot of the initial kind of input first.
I can go first. Yeah. So I found my roommates through a Facebook group before coming in. I was, back in my home country, so I didn't have the opportunity to come here beforehand. So I get to know a couple of friends who are also attending Vanderbilt as master students, and we connected with each other through a Facebook group, and we kind of meet online. It's also during COVID time, so we had a couple of Zoom meetings. We kind of hunted a couple of places. We kind of searched for a couple of places to live and then decided on our final stay, which is pretty close to campus. As for my roommates, they are master students, and we kind of hit it off and just decided to team up to, rent a house together. So that's how we get here. I haven't been moving since then. So it's been a wonderful experience, meeting with roommates online. I felt lucky to be able to have such great roommates. Yeah.
I have a very similar experience. I also found housing through the Facebook Nashville housing group. My first year, like I mentioned, I lived a bit further from campus, but I had a roommate then. She was amazing. The only reason I decided to move is just because I wanted to be closer to campus. And then I used the Facebook group again to find my current roommate. And similar experience. I've had really good roommate experiences where they've been great. They've actually been non-Vanderbilt students. So whereas Amy's case, she teamed up with other Vanderbilt students. My roommates have been random. I did meet with them either in person just to make sure that we have like similar living styles. And so that I feel like that was helpful. But the Facebook housing group is super helpful to find a place to live. And there's always so many different postings on there. I will say that talking to current Vanderbilt students or even Vanderbilt students who are about to graduate, which I'm happy to put you in contact with these people or where you can talk to other students. But that can be super helpful because they have secured housing in either like an apartment complex or somewhere, and they can uh, refer you to these different complexes, or if they're about to leave, you could potentially take over their lease. And so that's an option as well.
And so, my experience, my first year, I connected with a roommate directly through my department. They were a fifth year at the time, so they graduated at the end of that year, and I've been kind of on my own, floating around the city since then. But one thing that I would like to really suggest everybody look into is Vanderbilt kind of hosts an internal apartment slash roommate kind of database, and you can get some fantastic places through there. So where I'm living at right now is a condo that was never publicly listed, but was listed exclusively through that portal, and you can get some fantastic deals and some phenomenal places there, because there's a lot of landlords around here who like renting to Vanderbilt students because they know you're going to be a good quality tenant, as opposed to just posting it publicly for the rest of the folks to kind of look into. And kind of like Amy and Ebony mentioned, Amy has lived with other Vanderbilt students. If you're looking to live with other Vanderbilt students, that online portal is a fantastic way to connect with them as well.
Great insights, everybody. And I'll also add that the graduate school website, in the information for new admitted students, in those pages, we also have onboarding information that includes links to the roommate finder and some of these resources that William, Ebony, and Amy have mentioned. So let's turn the discussion back towards academics. And would you describe your relationship with your advisor, and how does that person help shape your plan of study and your path towards earning your degree and realizing your career goals?
Oh, I can start this one out. Excuse me. Firstly, I don't have one advisor. I have two, actually, and they're both very complementary to one another. So one who I kind of see as my primary advisor, because he's in my home department, is much more of a supportive individual. He a lot like me, shares a lot of my interests, including board games. So we have a lot of synergy going on there. But with my other advisor is a lot more, I like to think, research focused. So he helps me a lot more in the fashion of, let's say, figuring out what next steps are when I encounter a problem or such. But my other advisor is a lot better at really kind of connecting me with the appropriate resources, helping me network things that aren't so fundamental to just research in general. So that's kind of one concept I really like impressing upon folks, is kind of a network of mentors here at Vanderbilt. Is I encourage people not to come in thinking your PI is your one-stop shop, because which that's not to say they can't be. I know folks who have a PI who can check all of their boxes, which is phenomenal. I tell them I'm jealous of them, but it's, at least for me, it's a lot better to have a network of mentors who can really help you in all of the different areas that you want to grow in, which is one of the reasons I like having two different advisors, because I know one's really good in some areas and the other one is phenomenal in others, and it really kind of makes the entire Vanderbilt experience phenomenal for me.
Yeah, I have a great relationship with my advisor. Like I said, we meet weekly. He provides me with great support. And I feel like this is a big reason that I chose to work with him, is just I could tell in my interview that like his mentoring style was conducive to my learning style. Kind of when I was coming into graduate school, I kind of wasn't exactly sure the research direction that I wanted to take. And so my first year, he really helped to provide like all the resources needed for me to really figure out what direction I wanted to go, what research projects I was really passionate about. And so I think that it's really important to take advantage of that. Have conversations with your advisor. He or they want you to excel and succeed just as much as you want to. I also will say that William mentioned a great point about having this network of mentors. And while I don't have like another advisor, you can find mentorship in a lot of different places. I have two postdocs who work in my lab, and they have been pivotal to my success as a graduate student. There are different stages from my advisor, and so I can find that helpful because they recently went through the process that I'm currently going to. And so I find that they have a lot of great advice, and they're willing to like sit down and take the time to answer any questions that I might have. I also find mentorship in other places. I have a really great mentor who works at the Women's Center, and so that mentorship relationship is a lot less academic, but I find that it's really essential to me and my success as a student. And so I agree that it's really important to find different mentorship styles and finding support and other people than just your primary advisor, which my primary advisor is amazing and he provides me with so much support, but you can just have that supplemented in a way that is just extremely beneficial for you if you look in other places as well.
Similarly, I also had a very close relationship with my advisor. I've been able to tailor my coursework as well as my research projects, aligning them to my research interests before coming to Vanderbilt. And my research interests are mostly on quantitative methods. I think the most helpful tip that I got and gained through this PhD journey was that to feel confident to share with your advisor your research interest, and also proactively seek for your advisor for any great tips or connections. So if you have a growing interest while you are studying at Vanderbilt, definitely communicate proactively with your advisor so that he or she may connect you with other faculty members who share your interest, who will develop these type of interdisciplinary topics that you're interested in. For example, I have a growing interest in deep neural networks, and so I talk with my advisor about this potential topic that I have in mind. And she was really great. She connected me with the Vanderbilt Data Science Institute, where I can meet with data science professors one-on-one to communicate with my research projects. And so that has been incredibly helpful when you have any kind of like growing interest, or if you have some new topics in mind that you want to continue on building up that knowledge base, or building up different networking networks with other faculty members. I think seeking out and proactively communicate with your advisor would be a great tip, a great strategy for you to succeed academically and professionally.
To the newly admitted students, did anyone come here to this session tonight with a specific question or an information point in mind that you're hoping we would address that maybe you haven't heard yet or had the opportunity to ask? I see Alice raising her hand. Go ahead, Alice.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, this is going to sound silly, I'm sure, but I just wanted to triple, quadruple check that the date for graduate students, like everyone starts on the same date, which seems to be like late August. Is that just like the universal starting date, or does it differ by department? Because all of the websites can be confusing.
Sure. Well, the first day of class is August 21st. And so that's when everybody starts. But various departments will have onboarding events and social events that happen in the weeks leading up to the first day of class. So And especially if any of you are international students, there will be some onboarding and orientation provided by our International Student and Scholar Services Office. So you probably would want to plan on arriving at least by early August, maybe first week of August. Any other, oh, did you have a follow-up, Alice?
Right, thank you so much. No, this is doesn't thank you for answering my question. This doesn't really so much have to do with doesn't have to do with the starting date, but I was wondering with public transportation, I was told that it is very reliable, and you know, it does sound like I'm excited to use it because I failed my driving license 7 times, so I shouldn't drive. But I failed it in Romania in my defense, so that doesn't really count. When I started my undergraduate in Los Angeles, and you know, I was very taken aback, so to speak, that this about the state of public transportation, and like the, you know, not only just that there are virtually like no I mean, a 30-minute drive would be like a 6-hour bus ride or something, but it's also like unsafe. Like I was wondering how the safety, because you said that you feel, Amy, you said you feel really safe walking around. So I was wondering also, like, do you also feel really safe in public transportation as well?
Thank you for the great question. Yeah, Alice, I think that's a very valid question to ask about safety, navigating around campus. So I used to live in Chicago, which is a place where I feel like walking in the dark or walking in the evening doesn't feel safe. Coming to, you know, Nashville, it's a very welcoming atmosphere. I feel very safe both walking as well as taking the bus. I took the mainly 2 lanes of the bus, 77 or 75. These two kind of routes are the most frequently taken bus routes that I kind of commute almost weekly. And there wasn't a lot of people who are also sharing the bus ride. You actually can build very good relationship with your bus driver too while you were, you know, getting on the bus and, you know, just talking with the bus driver. So it's really a welcoming environment here, very inclusive. I definitely feel that like you would enjoy a very safe and inclusive environment here at Nashville. I don't know, I couldn't speak for other, you know, bus lanes. Maybe William and Ebony, you have taken other you know, bus routes, and how do you feel about taking a bus and walking on campus?
Yeah, so excuse me, I haven't taken the bus nearly as much as you have, Amy. My bus line is typically from campus to Broadway or downtown. I've never encountered any instances where I felt unsafe. I know a lot of my friends take the bus much more frequently than I do, and they've never spoken to me about ever feeling unsafe or such. And I'm fairly certain it would have come up in our conversations if it had. But as for walking across campus and around kind of the little bigger circle than Vanderbilt actually encompasses, I could say very similar things. I walk it all the time, late at night. There's never a moment that I don't feel safe. We've got not only police officers continually patrolling, we also have just community service officers, which are kind of the equivalent of a security guard, just patrolling around. And they patrol more than just campus. They patrol the greater area too, which helps a lot, I feel. So, Ebony, if you have anything to add.
I personally don't use public transportation, but as I mentioned, a lot of my friends do. I will say that Nashville is a big city, so of course, being aware of your surroundings is going to be something that you have to do. But I have never been in a situation where I have felt unsafe. Also, if anything ever is going on campus or around campus, Vanderbilt University Police Department is very good about providing us with alerts and information about what's going on. But I personally have not had any experience where I felt unsafe. I have friends who take public transportation. So I can agree with what Amy and William say there.
I'll also add that on campus, there are blue light phones, emergency phones, situated almost when you see one, you can see another one out of the corner of your eye. So there's lots of blue light phones available. And there's an app called Vandy Safe that is monitored by the Vanderbilt Police Department. And one of the cool features of that app is virtual, I guess, walking partner, where you can let a Vanderbilt dispatcher know that you're walking from the library to your car or somewhere, from A to B, and they'll be tracking you on your phone just to make sure that you get from A to B safely, and you'll have a direct line to somebody if anything should arise.
One more thing to add on that, I do a summer program where we have upcoming 7th and 8th graders who will come and live on a Vanderbilt campus for like a science program, and you can actually call VUPD if you want an escort somewhere. They'll actually walk you to wherever you need to go with you if that's something that you feel comfortable with as well.
Mm-hmm. Great questions. So we want to definitely make sure that you all have the opportunity to ask whatever questions are on your mind on whatever topic touches student life, campus life, whatever's on your mind. Did anyone else come here tonight with a specific question? Well, if not, let's talk to our continuing students again and ask you to describe the learning environment here at Vanderbilt and maybe some interdisciplinary collaboration opportunities you've had in your studies.
And so I really like that question talking about the learning environment. It takes me back to a topic that we had kind of touched on earlier this evening about like the climate between student and teacher. I feel like most professors around here are very different in kind of the student teacher relationship, and think of it more as kind of a mentor colleague kind of dynamic going on. And what I mean by that is there's a lot less of a power dynamic going on in grad school than there is in undergrad, where you're just taking classes and trying to do your best for your GPA, right? Most everyone here on campus is dedicated to your development and your learning as a scholar, right? Your success is their success, and they want to do everything they can to make sure you can succeed and do it in a comfortable environment, which was kind of the biggest shocking experience to me in grad school, is just how informal everything is in learning in grad school compared to in undergrad, where it's always like, let's say someone's lecturing to you, it's always much more of a conversation now for your learning. They want you to challenge their ideas and everyone else's, because that to me is what grad school is what I'm all about, is really challenging what those ideals are these days.
Yeah, something similar along those lines that I found was very different for me was this idea that kind of like grades don't matter. When you are in undergrad, you're working super hard to make sure that you're really getting the best grades possible. What I learned my first year is that the professors, they just really want you to learn. There's a less emphasis on making sure that you get 100% on this assignment. I found that the professors really wanted you to grasp the concepts and the ideas that they're teaching. And so I found that that made the environment much more welcoming. And I felt, like Amy said, I felt more comfortable to like raise my hand and ask questions in class or go to office hours if there's a concept that I was struggling with. And so I found that that was really helpful for me to thrive in the learning environment. Also, I found that building these relationships with these professors in your classes does actually open opportunity for collaboration. And so in a lot of in some of the classes that I've taken, when there's concepts that I found super interesting or that I could relate to the research that I was doing, and because I'm forming relationships with these different professors, I've actually built two different collaborations out of that with in my own research and having them on board onto projects that I'm working on and having their support in that aspect as well.
Yeah, I would also echo the same things. There are a lot of collaborative projects on campus, and we have not only between department collaborations, but also within department collaborations. So within a department, we have different programs. In my program, we also work with the special education department to help analyze texture data for students with special needs and students with disabilities. We also have a couple of different collaborations with the Data Science Institute where we, as quantitative psychologists, can provide solutions quantitatively or theoretically to be applied using this, for example, like the big data approaches or the unsupervised learning kind of algorithms where we would have different types of models to help analyze like data that are specific maybe to children or students. Um, these type of interdisciplinary projects really help us to build collaborations and build network opportunities with other faculty members. Not just academic life, even in social life and student organizations, we see a lot of collaborations. You probably would receive a lot of email notifications once you get to campus where you would see that events have been organized by different, across campus student organizations or, different, school, university offices that are collaborating with each other to hold different events. So you do see a lot of interdisciplinary and collaborations on campus.
And how would you describe the student community here and the different campus organizations and networks and social and academic clubs that you can be involved in here?
I'm happy to expound on that a little bit. Yeah, I will say that's probably one of my most favorite things about Vanderbilt. I built so many wonderful connections with different people just by going to different social events. There's so many different affinity groups and social events where you can get connected with other people. And I found this super helpful when trying to navigate my first year of graduate studies. I feel like you can learn a lot from other students, and you can also gain a lot just by connecting with a variety of different people. I'm in the process of applying to internships. I know that I want to go the industry route after graduating. And so knowing people and building connections with them can be super helpful to your goals outside of academia as well. And so I will say that I've gained a ton of great relationships, also great peer mentorship relationships as well. I will say that there's an event for everything. And I would really, really urge you to take advantage of those and really get involved. I'm involved in a lot of good like mentorship programs where I get to mentor younger students. And so I think that there's so many great opportunities out there for you to find something that maybe is important to you, whether that's finding community, finding people who look like you or people who share similar interests as you. There's a lot of opportunity for that.
One other thing I can kind of add on to what Ebony was talking about, there are a lot of groups and organizations here on campus that you can get involved with depending upon what your interests are and such. I encourage each of y'all to still go mingle with the undergrad organizations. A lot of the organizations are undergrad run, which a lot of people, including myself, when I first transitioned to grad school, was like, ooh, no, I don't want to go mingle with undergrads. But most of the undergrads here on campus are very open and are interested in building connections with them, grad students as well. And that can be good to kind of get to know folks in the undergrad experience, because odds are you'll be teaching slash mentoring them at some stage of the game, and getting to know what their experience on the end of Vanderbilt is a very helpful thing as well for you to kind of get you to understand their perspective on things.
I think I would also mention a couple of resources. So both through emails and AnchorLink, we would be able to see so many events that are happening on campus. There are many events, workshops, and seminars that you can go to for free during the school year. I'm also involved in a cultural organization called APITA, where we organize a lot of cultural events. So I am someone who likes to, work with others, work with other graduate students to, hold events together to, see our friends or, everyone on campus are welcome, no matter it's undergraduate students or graduate students are welcome to come to our events. Our most recent event was celebrating the Lunar New Year. We also hold a lot of different, faculty and student talks, chats, as well as some just fun events that graduate students and undergraduate students can enjoy during the semester. There are other resources such as the Handshake, as mentioned by Ebony. We also have the Career Center, who offers a lot of different career fairs that students can go to. So there are actually a lot of resources for us to navigate, and a lot of collaborative student organizations that hold events that welcome such a inclusive and diverse environment for everyone.
We have reached the end of our time together tonight, and I would like to very much thank the student panelists for coming and joining us and sharing their insights and lively discussion points. I'd like to thank all of you newly admitted students for taking time to join us and to learn more about the Vanderbilt experience. I have put in the chat our graduate school admissions at vanderbilt.edu email address, and that's kind of your catch-all if you want to contact us to ask any questions that maybe you didn't think of tonight, or anything moving forward. We're here to help you and provide you with information, and keep looking at the graduate school website for the other information sessions that we are offering this week, and as well as the recorded sessions that you can access. So again, I'll thank you very much, everybody, for joining us, and I wish everyone a pleasant evening.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you, guys.